And thanks for joining us here at 6 a.m. on this Wednesday. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Neda Irampour. And our top story here this morning, we're talking about CVS and Walgreens. They're putting limits on how much children's medicine that people can buy. It's all because of a shortage, leaving shelves empty.
Perhaps you have sick ones at home and you're going through this right now. This comes as flu, RSV, and COVID-19 cases rise. CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol is live outside of CVS in Claremont, sharing some recommendations from local pediatricians. Good morning.
And good morning, Eric and Neda. We feel for those parents who never want to return home from a store like CVS or Walgreens empty-handed with their kids in pain or just really, really sick. We even spoke to a mother who said she just needed a little bit of Tylenol for her baby who was teething, but she had to talk to other family members in another state, and they shipped her some medicine for her child. So I'm going to break down what CVS and Walgreens is doing to mitigate some of those empty shelves. CVS is announcing that in online and store, you could buy only 2 child's pain relief products. Walgreens has 6 items limits online. Now, as the triple pandemic pushes, a local pediatrician recommends shopping for generic or even trying alternatives if needed. We spoke to a pediatrician specialist at Rady Children's Hospital. They say the best thing to do for an alternative to those medicines, lowering a fever with a wet rag, slowly doing this. You do not want to shock your child's system by going in an ice bath. Health experts recommend talking with a doctor or even a pharmacist before giving a child adult medicine, and also a warning that kids cannot have aspirin, hoping that those medicines will appear on the shelf soon. I'm Dana Marie McNichol, coming to you live from Claremont.
And now on to a developing situation in Tijuana. 6 people have been found dead in a stolen van from California. You see law enforcement out there. The Tijuana Press tells us the victims, 5 men and 1 woman, are from Rosarito. Police believe they were strangled. They were discovered in a commercial parking lot on Monday night. Quite a gruesome discovery. The Chevrolet van was reported stolen back in September. Tijuana's official homicide death toll for this year is now at 1,983 people. That is slightly more than last year. And now this morning, some people in the South Bay say they don't feel safe at the Otay Ranch Town Center. People who live in the area are bringing up concerns in the East Lake Chula Vista Facebook page, where they're complaining about robberies, thefts, and fights among kids and adults. One parent says a group of teens attacked and robbed their teen, and they now want to see more security and patrols.
And I just think the presence isn't there that needs to be there to keep us safe. We don't even take our children to the park really past 5 o'clock anymore, just because of the violence that's happened.
Yeah, again, this is at the Otay Ranch Town Center where they're talking about these complaints. We reached out to them, the management team, and to Chula Vista Police. Both say they're working together on crime prevention strategies.
Right now, the future of Title 42 is in limbo as the White House asks the Supreme Court to lift the pandemic-era restrictions. Title 42 allows the U.S. to turn away most migrants trying to cross the border.
And CBS 8's Chris Groh is at the border sharing the concerns from many local immigration lawyers who are going to be dealing with a lot of this firsthand. And it's pretty confusing these days, Chris.
It really is, because the Biden administration has also asked the Supreme Court to not end Title 42 until after the Christmas holiday. Now, they've also asked the Supreme Court to block an effort by conservative states to actually end Title 42 prematurely here. Well, actually not prematurely. It was supposed to end today. So a lot going on from the Biden administration, again, asking the Supreme Court for a number of different things. But what it does do is it leaves a lot of the border community in limbo, including those who act as lawyers or advocates for those on the other side of the border trying to enter the United States of America for a better life. And many of those lawyers we spoke with say that confusion is growing rampant amongst them. One attorney we spoke with told us they want to see Title 42 end, but they want a plan in place first. Now, as we wait, migrants and asylum seekers are likely to remain in Mexico or their country of origin. Many of them are fleeing extreme poverty, corruption, and violence. According to the AP, migrants have been denied asylum-seeking rights 2.5 million times since March on grounds of Title 42, which of course is put in place to prevent the spread of COVID-19 during the height of the pandemic. Now, those that have been able to get to the U.S. are finding that some border towns are overwhelmed. Specifically, take a look at what's happening in El Paso, Texas, where a state of emergency has been issued. All of this combined has led to a state of uncertainty as well.
It's very difficult for them to acquire a lawyer and for that lawyer to be available to take care of that case. These cases are lots of times life and death. And so whenever you're handling these cases, for a lawyer to be available and do something very quickly, it's almost impossible.
And there's also confusion on the economic side, if you will, as well, too, including how visitors and people who work in this area but live in Mexico get here. Ped West facility, according to the San Ysidro Chamber of Commerce, was supposed to reopen today with the potential ending of Title 42. They were told that 48 hours ago, or at least now maybe even 72 hours ago, according to the San Ysidro Chamber of Commerce, that they were told by CBP, Customs and Border Protection. However, then they were told just recently that that would not be the case because of Title 42 being kept in place for the time being. Now, of course, we've reached out to both Customs and Border Protection as well as the San Ysidro Chamber of Commerce to clear things up. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and send things back to you as we await a response from both parties. Eric and Netta.
Cleanup is beginning in Humboldt County after a magnitude 6.4 earthquake hit the Northern California county early Tuesday morning. Tens of thousands are still without power, and many homes and businesses were damaged. At least 2 people were killed in this. 11 more are hurt. Right now, the county is in a state of emergency as state agencies try to direct more efforts to restoring power there.
Wow, all those bottles flying off shelves. I mean, a 6.4 magnitude quake, quite a rocker for them.
Yeah, cracking roads and everything else.
Ooh, yeah.
Big weather stories across the country here. Some dangerous temperatures for our friends in the Midwest, right?
Yeah, I do want to get right to our maps to show you the feels like temperature. Oh, look at this. I mean, negative 27 degrees. I can't even fathom what that would feel like. We talk about the 40s in San Diego, and that's cold for us, right? This is heater weather for us. But imagine, I mean, if you step outside in temperatures like this, frostbite really quickly within minutes. So it's very dangerous. A lot of people through the Midwest, all the way further south, are being told to stay indoors. This is with the holiday weekend coming, many families trying to travel. This is going to impact a lot of people. Seattle right now feels like 19 degrees. Albuquerque, 23 degrees. El Paso, Texas, 30 degrees. So it feels like below freezing for much of our country. And here's why. There's this big low that was up in the Arctic, in the North Pole, and that came right through Canada, bringing with it that cold, frigid air. And you see the troughing, how low it gets, all the way to the southern states, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia. They are in for really abnormally cold weather for states that don't typically see it. Now, we know they get blizzard-like conditions across the Midwest and the Northeast, but this will be record-breaking. I mean, we're talking colder air than people have seen ever in places like Denver, the coldest it's been in 30 years. So that purple, that deep purple that you see, that really is dangerously cold, but for much of the country, under that dangerously cold weather. Look at us, though, how different this is on Saturday. I mean, Christmas Eve, we are in the light orange, so that puts us into the 70s. For the rest of the country, we're talking so many watches and warnings, from wind chill warnings to winter storm warnings, hard freeze warnings, Louisiana, Mississippi, hard freeze watches and wind chill watches for Texas. So it's widespread. If you have travel plans, of course, you're going to want to check and make sure that you are able to get to your destination, or that your loved ones can get to us here in California, where things will be much warmer.